things have escalated slightly further. In the end, I took the decision to take the quarter wing off. I didn't really want to, but I found some corrosion up here from the other side, which, to be fair, give it its due, this, for a 1990 car, is incredibly rust-free. And I mean, this lip is, I hate trying to fabricate these, it's a nightmare. I've never made one look pretty. But I've not seen one this good for years. I mean, the last time I saw one in this sort of condition, it was like, you know, an accident repair on a car that wasn't very old. I mean, they always corrode up this seam. But until you get down to where they always rot, I mean, you know, even if you find a BX that looks all right there, if that has not been repaired, this will be rusty. They just are. That is, I mean, this bit's just surface, but I don't know how bad it is behind. So that's the end of the inner wing, and this is the little closing panel. That there is the end of the inner sill, which is not pretty. So there's some rot has crept through in its hole here, and the reason for that, and this is mainly the reason I took the quarter wing off, because I mean, the leg's really good. There's a tiny bit of corrosion right in the corner, but other than that, this is a really good panel. I think I'm going to wire wheel the whole thing because there is some corrosion just there. I don't know what's going on back here, but it's lumpy, so I'm gonna cut into all of this and have a look. There's a hole in the back which you won't be able to see, and there's a hole in the valance. I'm not too worried about any of that because I'm going to do, there's some corrosion there where, in fact, you can actually see where the exhaust hanger, well, you can't because it's, yeah, where the exhaust hanger used to be. I must have done that. And I don't know why I did that. Unless that was done when it got pranged in the side before I bought it. I don't remember welding it there. I don't believe I would have welded it there because that is not where it should be, but I don't know. I've certainly made that. This outrigger I made, it's actually pretty solid. But anyway, yeah, you know, it is what it is. I'm not too fussed about this. I can cut this corner out. This bit it's starting to get a bit frilly in the corner, so I can deal with all that. But I mean, all of this is still solid. It's just starting to corrode. The drain is not draining for the sunroof because it is absolutely clogged full of shite. So it's a good opportunity to clean that out. But I'll do what I usually do, and I will put a plate in here that goes across the valance to hang the exhaust hanger on where it should be. And if you've got a plate, I'll probably use 2 or 3 mil because, you know, go big or go home, innit? But if you put a large plate in here that then goes round the corner, it stops the flex because this panel is really quite weak. Even brand new, they're quite springy. And with the exhaust sort of, you know, vibrating, hanging it in bumps, whatever, it does flex that panel, and they always rot here because of that. So if you put a big brace piece in and then weld the exhaust hanger to it, it can't flex, and therefore it can't split the paint and corrode. Yeah, under the car, there's the inner sill. That's the lower hole that you can see from the other side, and it's quietly all corroded away. And it's corroded away because the chassis leg has, see, this is how to do one, Andy. So this is a support panel that goes all the way up and is spot welded into the floor of the car, along the same edge as where all the door shut and everything is sandwiched together. And it comes down and it's spot welded to the inner sill there, and it was spot welded in that corner. And the chassis leg, which I've cut and peeled back, sits around it. And the reason it does that, I think, is so that it doesn't have a return lip going across here so that the subframe mount is flush against the inner sill rather than being held off by whatever that is, I don't know, 1 mil, 0.9, whatever. But because this is only spotted, once it had started to corrode here and it had peeled itself back, because that chassis leg is not welded to the inner sill on the outer edge, you still get rot and shit and crap creeping through, and it gets sandwiched between this panel and the inner sill, which is precisely what it's done, and well, you end up with it rotting away. So access isn't great under here because that's the floor of the car, the chassis leg's there. I mean, this bit of the chassis leg is perfect. I really don't need to do anything with this, it's fine. I just need to replace this piece, even the, you know, the horizontal bit. It's all good. So rather than hack out huge bits of car from this side, it's easier to attack this from the other side. And I'm going to do something I've not done before because I've not come across one of these being this rotten. But I'm going to cut this above where the corrosion is and then weld another plate in, but I'm going to seam weld it to the inner sill. Right the way down, and what I'll do in the corner, which again you can't see, but what I'll do in that corner is make a return lip that comes across the back of the landing panel, seam weld it to that, and then when I've fitted the inner sill against where it should be back here, I will seam weld that leg to it down the outer edge. And that should keep the weather out of it, I hope. It should also make the whole thing stronger, because me being me, I'll probably put a thicker panel than this in. So it should make the whole thing stronger, but rather than have this cut out here, and it follows the little lump that was in the chassis leg, I will make it flat, but I won't have a return lip here. I'll seam weld the top edge of the chassis leg and the bottom edge of the chassis leg to that panel, which will be seam welded to the inner sill. I hope all of this makes sense. It probably doesn't, but anyway. So it'll be nice and flat there for the new subframe mount bracket to attach to the inner sill, but the whole thing will be significantly stronger, and you shouldn't get any weather in it or around it because it will be seam welded. So that's the plan. Whether or not it will go that way, I don't know. I mean, I sort of started hacking both sides of it out, and I've stopped doing that. This side's worse in places and better in other. The actual support panel looks pretty perfect this side, as does the inner sill above it, which is weird because everything else this side is far worse. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose, isn't it? So I'm going to concentrate on this side for now until I get bored. If I get really bored of hacking more bits out, I might have a go at stripping the subframe down and cleaning it up and seeing which one I'm going to use. But anyway, so yeah, for now I am going to have a go at giving myself some access in here, trying to get this panel out without damaging it. Given that the inner sill's shagged, I'm not too worried. Trying to drill those spot welds is difficult because you can't really get a drill into it. So I'm tempted to just cut it this side as gently as I can, which again, with this out the way, gives me better access, and then see how it looks. Turns out that spot weld, which goes through that panel and this panel and into the outer panel, it's not where I thought it was, and I've made quite a mess of that. I had to bang another hole in it, and I tore the metal slightly. But you know, that is fit. Well, I'm going to have to fix it because I don't have another piece. But that that should go back in there. It doesn't actually fit very well now, but you know, that's how I have bent that slightly. But anyway, that yeah, that will go back in there, minus the rotten bit. The inner sill does need a bit of repair there, although to be fair, it's still pretty thick. It's just a bit manky. I might hydrate 80 that and see how it cleans up, because there's a bit of a dimple there where the spot weld was. But other than that, that's pretty solid. So yeah, this is quite annoying now. So it is. I was wrong, as it turns out. I always thought that leg was spot welded to this panel, and it isn't. This is a continuation of that, and the corrosion in it continues behind here. And I didn't really want to cut any more of this out, but you can see the reverse side of the inner sill. It's corroded through where it's lipped. Now, this is getting into this panel. Stops about there, so it goes in quite a long way and up. I don't know if I can maybe employ something to try and cut that out from underneath and leave this in, because things are getting a little bit springy now. But obviously I don't want to plate this bit and leave that sort of shit in there, because there's A, no strength in it, and B, again, it's just going to carry on corroding behind my new metal. I don't really want that. So I fear I might have to either cut more of this out or try and pick the spot welds out and hack into this from the other side. Hello, Mr. Hedgepig. Oh, I don't have any bread. What do hedge pigs eat? Cat food. Never leave home without cat food. I've just slapped some hydrate over everything. I've also treated this, and I'm going to cut this out for obvious reasons. There's bloody great holes in it. But there are reasons which I might go into in the next vid, because this one is probably going to end quite soon, because I've just lost an hour and a bit sort of trying to feed a hedgehog, which is now scurried off underneath Matthew's bus behind mine and vanished, and which is a shame, because I'd quite like this. Weird that there's a little hedge pig out during daylight, and he's quite a young un by the looks of him, and I've never seen a hedgehog here before in the, I don't know, 20 odd years or whatever I've been here. And it's weird that he's out in daylight, so I'd quite like to have taken him somewhere, but alas, he's run away, and he seems happy enough. So I might put some more food down the back of the bus. I don't really want to attract rats, but at the same time, he's a hedge pig. Awesome. But anyway, I have plans, and I'm not going to do them today because it's getting late now, because I got diverted with a hedgehog. But that's cool, because hedgehogs are awesome. So the metal up here is actually really good. It was corroded, but it's really good. And I've managed to pull these two panels apart and tosh a shitload of hydrate 80 all the way up through. And the metalwork on this is actually pretty good up here. What I'm going to do is cut this out, and I'm not going to bother with that lower lip, which isn't there anyway. I'm going to make it flush. Again, for reasons that will become obvious when I do the chassis leg. So I'm going to take the structure out, well, the structural necessity, not that I don't think there was much, out of this, and replace it with a 2mm chassis leg and a 3mm plate, and I'm going to butt weld them, which will make it infinitely stronger than it was. Once I've replaced that bit, so I'm going to drill a hole in here and then spot weld these two bits together here, replace this plate, but I'm going to take that curve out of it and make it a nice square edge, because I'm going to seam weld that edge to the new inner sill, because if it's seam welded you can't get shit through it, and I should be able to stick plenty of Bonder primer slash Jotun behind down here through the big hole in there, so it should never rot again, hopefully. This panel is okay. The folded over lip is rotted out. I'm not worried about that because I'm going to delete that folded over lip, again for reasons that you will see when I get round to welding it, because folded over lips is just well, you get shit in there, and it doesn't matter how good you try, and that's still wet. You know, try and seal something, if water gets in it, it's going to rot. So I'm deleting that, and I'm going to seam weld it, and then it can't fucking rot, hopefully. It'll certainly see me out, and then it'll be wire wheeling all. I might actually have a go at doing that in a minute, wire wheeling all this shit out and just seeing how bad the corrosion is in here. But the rest of it, to be honest, is not too bad. But yeah, I need to get some structure back in here, some strength back in the car, get this side buttoned up. Certainly this bit, I don't care about, you know, all of that bit. I can do that later, I'm not worried. I just want to get some structure back in here, get this all finished before I attack the other side, because otherwise the car's going to flat pack itself, because I haven't welded any brace pieces in because I'm fucking hardcore. But anyway, or stupid, well, I don't know, one or the other. It hasn't folded up yet, so happy days, innit? I'm waffling again, and this has been a video of waffle mainly, and a hedgehog. Cool. Anyway, so yeah, you know, and then I've got a wire wheel, all of that boff under here. None of this looks too bad. The boot floor looks okay. There's some corrosion around the cross member. I couldn't get one, sadly, but anyway, it's only the corners, so that should be an easy fix, because obviously there's actual the plates on the end go over the cross member. The cross member's okay, it's only the plate that's a bit crusty, so I'll clean that up and see how bad it is, and if needs be, I'll just make a new plate and bang it all in it for the subframe bush. So that's no great problem. I can do that both sides. They're only reverse. It's the same piece but reversed, so you know, I can just make 110 plate and knock 2 out, job done. Yeah, happy days. In other news, I have found a slightly better wing. Mine's got that chunk missing. I mean, this does have some cracks in it, but it's in colour and it's better than what's on it, aside from, there you go, you can just about see there's a crease in it just here. However, I think that crease will pop out, so I'm not too worried about that. The side pod, the offside one I got off in one piece, the near side one didn't, mainly because most of this was held together with Sikaflex and filler, and I think that's a result of where it was boshed, which is, yeah. I don't have, well, I've got one spare near side pod, so I'm going to have to try and find another one, or do something with this one, because I'd quite like to put side pods on this car at some point when I get round to doing it, and I know it looks a long way off being a car, and it is, but you know, it's got most of a phase 2 kit on it already. I'd quite like to put the pods on it, so I'm going to have to try and find a near side pod, because I only have offside pods, aside from this pair in colour that came off of KMO. So I'm going to put, I shall use that one. It's not entirely perfect, but it's okay. I mean, it will do, it will polish. It's mostly just where it's been sat in the firm for so long, it's just covered in shit that's sort of eaten into the paint a bit, but I'm pretty sure that will polish. And I think there was a guy that had a phase 2 Volvo in black years ago, and I can't remember his name, but he was in the club, and he painted the metal grills red, and I really liked it. So given that the grill's all a bit rusty and horrible anyway, I might remove the other, well, I mean, this grill's still attached, so I'll remove that grill, clean them up, and get the right out of them, and I think I'm going to do them red, because I just think it looks nice.